The Harris Hill Ski Jump is celebrating 100 years. 100 years of exciting, high-flying fun. We'll be telling the stories of the hill going back to the start in 1922 with Fred Harris and continuing through to the current day, regaling you with wonderful first-hand accounts and Harris Hill historians. It's the Harris Hill Story Project.
As part of the Harris Hill Story Project, we're talking with a man that entered into ski jumping at an age where most retire. He was so driven to become an Olympic athlete that he took on ski jumping just so he could wear the blue, black, red, yellow, and green rings. By now, you probably know who I'm talking about, Eddie Edwards, aka Eddie the Eagle. Eddie, welcome to the Harris Hill Story Project.
Thank you very much. And it's an honor for me to be a part of the whole thing. Thank you very much for asking.
Back 1996, and I get that it's a stretch ask because I know at that point you were jumping a lot of small hills. If we can you recall any of your time on Harris Hill in Brattleboro, Vermont?
I do remember jumping there, and I remember because I've still got some posters from the Brattleboro competition. And I do remember it was a big hill. I remember that. But I do remember a guy that I was training with because the new bindings had come out, the release, and he fell over because halfway through the air when he took off, his ski fell off, and he went back up and did another jump, and it fell off again. And so he decided he would quit jumping that day. So I do remember that incident at Harris Hill, and I remember I survived Harris Hill as well. And I was jumping reasonably well because I was training for the '98 Olympics, and training was going well. And I do remember the hill, but I can't remember the ins and outs of the hill and what it looked like very much. But I do remember jumping there.
Yeah. So this is not the first time you and I've met. I know that you don't understand. You probably don't remember the last time, but I did point you towards a bathroom. Just so
that was very handy because I always used to get nervous, and when I get nervous, I want to pee a lot. So yeah, I made full use of the WC facilities.
Outstanding. All right, let's talk about the spirit of a ski jumper. Now, as we were talking before we went on, that I've sat as a commentator and often stood in amazement as to the things that you guys do, but your spirit might have been just a little bit different when entering into this because you had a specific goal to become an Olympian. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's been a dream since I was about 8 years old because I used to watch the Olympics, especially the Summer Olympics on TV. And I thought it was really cool because the athletes wore Great Britain on their tracksuits, on the back of their tracksuits. And I thought that was really cool. And I wanted to be just like them. And I did loads and loads of different sports. And it wasn't until I started skiing on a school ski trip. And I thought, wow, this is such a cool sport. And I was very lucky. I had a dry ski slope nearby. And it became my home, and I was up there every night after school, all weekend, all school holidays. It was skiing, and started racing, doing slaloms, giant slalom, Super G. Raced internationally, went to America to Lake Placid to race, and ran out of money. And I saw the ski jumps and thought I'd give it a go. And that was the sport that got me to the Olympic Games in Calgary. And finally, from 8 years old, at 24, I competed at Calgary, and it was a wonderful experience and a dream come true.
It's an amazing story, for those who haven't seen the movie that reflects that whole time period and kind of walks you through quickly the first part of your life, and then the working with your father and actually just saying I'm following this and going. It's an amazing story and just an amazing testament to the human spirit, your human spirit.
Thank you.
Now, everyone thinks that you've made it when you've become an Olympian, and I've always said I think you've made it when they've named a rule after you. So,
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second? Do you mind?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, when I went to Calgary, I had no idea that I was going to be christened Eddie the Eagle. It was given to me at Calgary Olympics. And it sort of caught everybody's imagination. It just exploded. And the International Ski Federation were having complaints from some of the other federations, like the Norwegian Ski Federation, and they were saying, we've got 50,000 Eddie the Eagles in Norway. We don't send them to the Olympic Games. But FIS then had to change the new rules, which effectively kicked me out of the sport. And they call it the Eddie the Eagle rule. And the rule was that you had to be ranked in the top 50 in the world at your sport, or be placed in the top 50%. And now I think it's the top 30% of an international competition to qualify for the Olympic Games. So it meant that there was no way that I could reach that qualification. It made it very, very difficult for me. So I really got kicked out. My wings were clipped, as they say,
Oh,
and
no.
that was the end of it. Yeah.
Well, we know that you didn't stop trying, though. I mean,
Oh no.
you tried for Lillehammer, and I think Nagano was the last attempt you tried to don the rings, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I was training for Nagano in '98 Olympics, and all my competitions that year were cancelled, so I didn't get any competitions in. It was a very warm winter, and in Finland, when I was jumping in Finland, it was +8 instead of -20, and I had 7 competitions up there, and they were all cancelled, and the deadline passed, and then that was it. I retired and went back to school.
We know that there are opportunities to go skiing with you when we're not in the middle of a global pandemic, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's that. But what are you doing with yourself now?
Well, lots of things really. Up until the film came out, I went back to school after training for Nagano, and I kind of retired from ski jumping. Went to university, did my law degree, and then I went back to building and construction, which is what I was born, and grew up with my family, and all my father, my granddad, my uncles were all working construction. So I went back to construction and still doing the odd TV show and a little bit of speaking here and there, speaking at dinners and conferences and things. And then I did a big TV show in the UK called Splash, which is about springboard diving. And I won the show. And from that, they made the film, Eddie the Eagle. And then for the last 4 years, since the film was released, I've been very, very busy traveling all over the world, talking about my life and about the film and how it all came about, and about resilience and tenacity and that never giving up spirit. And that's what I do up until this pandemic, of course. So I'm having a bit of a rest. But when things open up again, I'll be back to speaking and all that kind of thing. And in the meantime, I'm renovating a house and doing other bits and pieces as well. So I'm keeping busy.
Yeah, I had talked to a gentleman who we mutually know, Rex Bell, and we both agreed that that Eddie the Eagle, Eddie Edwards, does not have a quit switch.
No, I just go for it, whatever happens. I mean, when I did Splash, the diving show, I just loved doing the show, and I never thought that I would even get to the final. But not only did I get to the final, I won it, and it was wonderful, and that led to the film being made. And so whenever I get chance to do things like Dancing on Ice, or in America there's a show, Dancing with the Stars, and in the UK it's called Strictly, and I've been asked to do that once or twice, but I've been so busy I've not been able to do it. But when I do get asked next time, and I do it, I'm going to just throw myself into it and train 150 hours a week and just dance to get ready for the show. So that's what I'm like.
Why doesn't that surprise me? Because it really shouldn't. Let's spend a second talking about the film a little bit, which stars Taron Egerton and as I just referred to him as the Wolverine. There is always a bit of Hollywood flair, but it has to be rooted in some truth. So how much truth, how much Hollywood flair were we looking at in that movie?
Well, having watched the film a number of times now, I've seen the film probably about 96, 97 times. I think the film is about 85, 90% true, but it only represents about a quarter, maybe a third of my life as a ski jumper. There was so much more that they could have put in the film, but they had to keep the film down to a certain length. So they left quite a few things out. But what they did use, they did really, really well. And I was very, very pleased with it. I couldn't believe how much Taron looked like I looked 32 years ago, 33 years ago. He had my jaw, my mustache, my glasses, my hair, and he sounded and acted, had all my mannerisms. He did a wonderful job. And Hugh Jackman, who played my coach, he's like an amalgamation of most of my coaches. because I had about 20, 25 different coaches on my way to Calgary, and they couldn't put them all in the film. So they took characteristics from most of my coaches and put them into that one character. So he's like an amalgamation of most of my trainers, and that was the easiest way to tell the story. But they did a wonderful job, and it still makes me cry when I watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I had a chance to talk about it, and I think there's just something about the human spirit that succeeds that always will just touch a person's heart, and it's definitely I think what that movie does and speaks to.
Absolutely, it really brought out. It showed the heart and the spirit and essence of my story. It really shows the resilience and the tenacity and that never giving up spirit, which is important. And it's not only important in sports; it's important in life, in business, in academics, whatever you want to do. You need that passion and that resilience to go out when people are saying don't do it, it can't be done. If you think you can do it, you go out there and give it a go. And it worked for me, and it can work for anybody else. And I think that film really shows that capability.
I completely agree. Now, you also do things. You do some charitable work.
Yeah.
Let's spend a moment talking about that. Tell us about Ski for Cancer.
Yeah, I was approached for Ski for Cancer to do a few holidays with them. So I would go out on a week or two's holiday, and they would invite clients out to ski with me, and we would ski. We would stop for coffee. We would chat a lot. I would do a talk in the evening about my life. We would show the film and that kind of thing. So sometimes they're out there for 3 or 4 days, and other times I'm skiing out there for a week. And they just pay that little bit extra, maybe $100 extra, and then that money then goes to Ski for Cancer. And they also have sister charities as well, Bike for Cancer and that kind of thing. So I do a little bit of cycling with them as well, but predominantly skiing. And I do events for them in the UK at dry ski slopes and indoor ski slopes. And then I go into Europe as well, to Austria, France, Italy, and go skiing with there and try and raise money. And it's a great cause. So yeah, I do a little bit of work for them.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Eddie, I want to thank you so much for jumping on and helping us out with the Harris Hill Story Project. Absolutely delightful to talk to you. You're a delightful person.
Thank you.
And I've really enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. And good luck to Harris Hill. It's a fantastic hill. It's going from strength to strength. And who knows, one day I might just come back and ski jump there in the future. Thank you very much.
There is an open invitation for you to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.